Italia!
Welcome, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, Welcome to the Milanese 360 podcast. We haven't done one of these in a few weeks. Apologies, a couple of us been off with illness. We've had RL stuff going on. It's been hard to fit in the time. So, in proper Milan fashion, what would happen is, we're coming back to not celebrate, but rather to go through and recap a demolishing by a very junk Juve team, and basically a recap of a lot of what's happened since we last did the Milanese 360 pod as well, with our co-host, Mr. Lab Gorilla. John, how have you been, man?
Yeah, Shane, I was never intending to do a pod, was I? I actually said I was going to take a break the whole of January, but of course, the club does what a club wants, isn't it? And last night was the first game that I had paid to watch in 2025, and I seriously, in a way, I'm happy I watched it because it exposed every single flaw, and I've got a lot to say about that. But at the same time, it's as we said, as we've entitled it, pretending to be a competitive club 101. Thank you, Mr. Forlani. Uh,
That's it.
yeah, let's get on with that. We've got
Cool,
quite a
man.
lot to cover. Yeah, we
All
might have a
right.
guest as well, all right, Shane?
Yeah. So we have a very special guest coming on shortly.
Oh,
Just
cool.
before we get to that, okay, you have the floor. All right, John, it's up.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
So we haven't done a Milanista 360 pod in a while, and so I thought I go back to the actual beginning of the year, which it began with, Fonseca being fired after the draw with Roma. We all knew that it just wasn't good enough, and Ibrahimovic stood there a few days later with Sergio Conceição, the manager that many Milan fans wanted actually in the summer. They wanted him to have a full preseason. They wanted him to really get to know the squad because they thought he was one of the candidates that was serious. Now, what's interesting, and a lot of people don't talk about this, is that Milan and Ibrahimovic said prior to this interview beginning that Ibrahimovic was going to do an introduction of Conceição, but that the press were not allowed to ask Ibra any questions at all. At this point, Ibrahimovic took the microphone, he introduced it, but he also said, I am sorry to Mr. Fonseca for letting you go in front of the press when everyone knew that you got sacked. And we just put you out there like basically a lamb to the slaughter, and this was not appropriate. Instead of the
John,
correct question, yeah, Shane,
it's almost like clueless management, almost, isn't
almost,
it?
isn't it? It's almost like clueless management. But, at this point, Ibrahimovic says, okay, he didn't apologize for the fact that the club made a mistake in bringing in Fonseca in the first place. He did not apologize for that. He apologized to Fonseca for the treatment he got. And I've got to say, from day one, Fonseca has been a gentleman. He knew he was very limited. We all knew he was limited. And we said on this podcast several times, this is not going to be his fault, but he's going to be the lamb to the slaughter, the first one. Now, the rumors are that the Conceição signing is not one that was fully backed by Ibrahimovic, Moncada, and Forlani. It was someone higher up who just said, enough, there's time for a chop. Anyway, Conceição comes in, he says the correct things, and we pull off two incredible results. We went over to Saudi Arabia and we won a Super Cup. I just want to say something about the Super Cup, Shane, if you just let me, please, sir.
Mhm.
Um, First thing is, Milan were there not out of merit. Milan did not win Serie A last season. We did not win the Coppa d'Italia, which is traditionally what the Super Cup tournament is for. It is a final between the two cup champions in Italy to, identify who the best one is. But bless Saudi Arabia, we are loved over there. We clearly have a lot of fans in that region, and they said you need to find a way for Milan to be present in the tournament, and so we have a semi-final stage. That is how Milan qualified. Because trust me, we did not qualify through winning the Berlusconi Cup. Okay, so we win the trophy. These guys pick up the trophy, and of course, the three musketeers, the three morons, start to take credit for this. And Ibrahimovic gave this rousing speech in the dressing room, which of
Sorry,
course,
John. Just a
yeah,
quick one to go through some of the comments that we were seeing online
tell
about
me.
being probably this, these are the best two, probably, what was it, the best two games of, in the history of Milan.
Oh, yeah, please. Yeah,
If
let's
if you
mention that.
started watching Milan about, either during the banter era or easily within the last 10 years, that would be the case. But
Yeah.
go back and educate yourself about the history of this club, please. In particular,
So,
I could point you to the Barcelona final where we destroyed them 4-0 in '94.
exactly. Exactly.
This is a fucking two-game Mickey Mouse trophy.
I mean, so that's my issue is so I don't think I hide the fact that personally I'm a traditionalist and I feel very much like we should not have been in that tournament anyway. The fact that we were and the fact that we beat Juve and Inter, I'm not taking anything away. That Inter win, the way we turned it around was exciting and fair enough. We won the trophy because of the way the system was set up. But we've got to say it. The Super Cup is probably the minor of the cups that are out there. And I asked, I think, probably everybody, and I said, do you think ownership with that 11 million of revenues from the Super Cup, as well as potentially making Champions League places and making it to the knockout phase of the Champions League, they will see that as success for the season because that's how they register success. It's nothing to do with actual sporting achievement, sporting ambition. And I think, we're going to go on to this, Shane, but if a club is assembled based on financials as opposed to sporting ambition, this is what Milan 2025 is. It is an imbalanced mess. It's a hot mess where management, directorship are being paid enormously. And we're just going to, talk about the next thing about January, Shane, which is what? The transfer window. That's what January is famous for, isn't it? And everyone was saying, Conceição's come in. Surely ownership and management are going to back him up now because this guy's not going to stand for any of this. And then we saw something odd during these games. We knew that Gabbia had a bit of a fever, but Conceição started to pick Tomori and Chow as the two starting centre backs. And we thought, what's going on here? And my cynical side, Shane, said, is he putting Tomori in the shop window? That was my cynical side. I'm not kidding you. That's what I started to see. And I started to think, oh, hang on a minute. He's trying something different, Conceição. I'm seeing, actually, we saw the return of Calabria as well, Shane, because surely no one can be as bad as Chicken Royale. Surely nothing can be as bad as that. And you think Calabria is going to come back. But then I thought, no, Chicken Royale is going to see the pitch again because management will tell him, and we're going to discuss the numbers, which are ridiculous around Chicken Royale. We'll just display it in just a second. So we get this win in the Super Cup, and I thought I'd give you a little bit of story around Radio Rossonera. Last summer, Radio Rossonera basically broke ties with Carlo Pellegatti. Carlo Pellegatti is a very senior journalist at AC Milan, but he's so incredibly biased towards the club because he's basically paid there to be there, and he's also afraid of being not invited to the press conferences. And so he asks the most embarrassing questions. Of course, everyone starts to bask in the glory of the Super Cup. We saw Conceição doing his cigar smoking, his dance with Theo putting on music on the speaker. We see players getting off the plane, and as Gio showed us, wearing T-shirts that said Milan Super Cup champions and having 3-2 on the back of the shirt. And I thought that is the smallest club mentality I remember at AC Milan, maybe in my lifetime.
Hashtag limited edition. Hashtag
Ah,
let's get it out
exactly,
there,
right?
right?
And Radio Rossonera then bring in as a special guest Carlo Pellegatti again after this win, and he says what Conceição has changed and what it has completely surprised me. And I'm like, guys, there isn't enough evidence right now to be making calls like this. Stop jumping on a ridiculous bandwagon because of one Super Cup. And so we said, the proof of the pudding will always come in Serie A because that is your bread and butter. That is where you have to show your worth. But of course, January is what, Shane? It's the transfer window, it's the mercato phase. And famously, Milan, under this particular ownership, has been so slow and so limited. This is the first embarrassing thing that happened. We All this talk came up that RB Leipzig were following Okafor, and Okafor is going over there and so on. And I scratched my head and I said, hang on a minute, I thought Okafor was injured. I haven't seen Okafor in ages. Hang on, have we been wrapping him in cotton so that he could just be put up for a loan and sale? And by the way, did you remember, Shane, the ridiculous numbers around him? 25 million, 28 million option to buy. Um, that
Yeah, but
wasn't
you
true.
see,
That
John,
was
no, there's
that.
no way, dude. There's no way. Because, like, even, right, even if those numbers were true, all that's going to happen is Leipzig are going to take the player on loan, you know,
Yeah,
send
yeah.
them back and then go, oh, let's have let's try and negotiate so we can pay 10 million for him. There's no way that he's, you know, they're not going to pay
No,
that
right?
for him.
It was, and I said you could make it 100 million. The point here is they're gonna take him on loan, use him until the summer, hopefully get themselves some extra revenues, and then send him straight back. Which is, by the way, exactly what Milan are doing, and what Milan are attempting to do now. As it stands, Okafor went over there, and they went, "No, he's not match fit. He can't help us. It will take. He would need basically." Several weeks to get back up to speed. So they're like, no, we don't want this guy. Embarrassment. Whilst all this is going on, we're linked with Rashford. I mean, for God's sake, do we really think for 1 second that Milan have the money to pay for Rashford's wages? And the talk was Milan are going to completely, going to have less than 50% of his wages to pay because they want Man United to cover them. You're just humiliating everyone in the fan base by even having these discussions. Now, let's talk about another one. Then the focus shifted to a player that is available on a free, Carl Walker. Now, I know the fan base has several opinions on this, Shane, and I want to know your opinion on this, right? Um, Carl Walker, for me, as a right back, cannot be worse than Chicken Royale. That's my personal opinion. But the time to have brought a player like that would have been in the summer instead of Chicken Royale, right? If a player like this comes in, yes, he's won several trophies. Yes, he's 34, 35. To give him a contract till 2027, which is what people are talking about. Um, but look, Milan are still skimping on that. The talk now is that it's a 1 million euro loan with a 5 million euro option. That's all, man. What's your opinion on Carl Walker, Shane? Just tell me yours.
Um, to be honest, because it's a decision that's being made by this management at this point, I'm probably thinking it's not a good one. Also, the concern I have with this player is there's some. I won't go into it, but there's some intense accusations about stuff that he's done in his personal life, right? And I
Oh,
find it
another
very
one. Is it really? Now another one. We need
right.
another one, don't we, Shane?
Right, that's it. So it's like what I find very suspect and very alarming is that all of a sudden that a player that has spent all of his career in England and in the Premier League, right, and who has balled out. Let's be honest, he's been a great player. But when he just suddenly decides, oh, I want to move, and it's not that, oh, I want to move club. I actually want to move to a different country. The question I'd have is what are you running from? And is what you're running from, is that something that can, fuck you up on a psychological level? Because we already potentially, allegedly, this may not be true, but probably is. We allegedly have one player that likes knocking the shit out of cocktail waitresses when they're high. Do we need another one? So
Yeah,
I don't, I'm a bit concerned, to be honest. This is very alarming.
yeah,
Like, you know, and keep in mind as well, right, that this player, right, imagine the embarrassment and the fucking cope levels that this player has been bought in, right, to replace a right back that was purchased in fucking August.
right. So we're going to talk about that right back, Shane, that was purchased in August. And, no one within management is saying, oh, okay, this is an admittance of another failure. First of all, there's been a failure in coaches. Now you're admitting, you have not openly admitted of that. You've just said sorry to Fonseca for the way he was treated, which was disgusting, I would say. Conte Sal's come in and he's being dealt these players who clearly, as everyone has been saying for a long time, all serious Milan fans are saying this is a completely unbalanced team. It makes no sense whatsoever how this team is set up. And why have you brought in Chicken Royale? But anyway, let's talk about Chicken Royale in a minute. After the game last night, and more rumors. Rumors are that Juventus and Milan have an agreement in principle for Tomori for 25 million. Because, by the way, we made the magnificent move in the summer of giving Juventus Kalulu, who, by the way, last night, did you see some of the blocks that he pulled off yesterday? This is not acceptable. This is just not AC
More,
Milan level.
more than acceptable to Juventus if they're going to be looking to get the player.
Exactly. Juventus are making, they're going after targets. I mean, I'm not going to have a discussion about financial fair play and the kind of mess that's going on, but they're going after their targets to make top four at all costs. And
Well,
what happened last night? They battered the living shit out of us.
in the background, rather than waiting to the end of the slides, I'm going to add in Gio
Go on,
so we
then.
can
You
get his
had him in.
comments as well as we go.
Yeah, you had him in.
Gio,
Um,
Milan Coast to Coast, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I really need this therapy after the BS that I saw. Well, it's actually still the day of the game here in California.
oh, is it still the
So
same day? Oh, mate.
yeah, it's 11:36 p.m. So
Oh, bro, I wish you could have had a sleep on it like I've had and Shane have had because you needed a little bit of cooling off from it. So you must still be really boiling from watching that game.
yeah, man. I mean, I want to sell everybody on the team. I think but people were telling me this is not NBA, this is not NFL. But I think Dale Hernandez and Leao have peaked. They peaked that season. They gave us a great memory that we'll never forget. Like even when I'm 70, 80 years old, I'm always remember the season. But I think the way that they're playing, like today, Theo was just straight out lazy. He wasn't defending and doing anything. So, but with all the rumors, Kyle Walker, he's just trying to get back with his wife. Okay, Shane. He
Is
stepped
that
out
it?
on the mess. No, he stepped out on the marriage. He stepped out on the marriage. He got a kid with another girl, and then
That'll do it.
his wife wants to move abroad, so he wants to get her back. So that's why he wants to move
Uh,
abroad.
you can get a
Oh,
big house with a side apartment for the mistress. Win-win.
But you
yeah.
know what? A lot of people are like shitting on the deal, but I think I don't know. I think like he's gonna do better than Real, and I think maybe Theo could become more offensive now because it's gonna turn into a back three when Theo's attacking. And what I
Smart.
like about Walker is his pace, whether he still could catch up to the fastest players in the Premier League. So imagine in Serie A that really doesn't have like fast players like that. He's going to be able to catch up to them like with ease. So I,
Fair.
I,
Yeah.
I like the signing. I think a lot of people are saying, nah, he's trying to leave mid-season. He's trying to do all these things. But if Inter were to go get him, this would be like an Inter deal. Like go get him and then sell Dumfries in the summer for like 40, 50 million. And then you have like a proper backup. But I mean, I don't know. And how we getting rid? My question is to everybody: how we getting rid of Emerson? Will
Ah,
with
so
4 years left at 3 million net?
Monzo.
let's have a discussion here on Emerson. So first of all, Tomori is clearly been offered to Juventus, and talks are going on because somebody wants to pocket some money. By the way, I'm getting some feedback on someone's mic. Who is that? Can you try and mute yourself so that we can tell who it is? Oh, whoever just did it, your mic is giving feedback. I don't know who that was because I
It's
can't see.
Gio, I'd say. Yeah.
Is it Gio? Sorry.
Yep.
So I just want to say hello to Fahadinho, Kim, and Vince. I know you're all watching. Awesome that you're watching, and thank you very much for watching. Uh, let's just give you a bit of a shocker, which is back to Gio's point. Which Gio, thanks, man, for pointing out Chicken Royale and his wages. So Chicken Royale is on 90 grand a week. He's on an annual base salary of 4.63 million euros, and his contract is until June 2028. So Chicken Royale is going to have to be played because of the amount of money that this club is paying him, which is probably one of the highest wages in our club. Now, you tell me for 1 minute, please, just 1 minute, that this is a decision by management that makes any sense, any financial sense. Anyone please turn around to me and tell me that this is appropriate wages for somebody like this. And what I also thought is I showed the chart of how much Chicken Real has been making at different clubs in the different years of his career. Just want to see, this is the summer that he joined us. Now, this is when he joined us here. Look at the jump in wages from 2.5 million has jumped to 4.5 million euros a year. Is that acceptable? I don't think it is. And I think, again, this is another demonstration that management haven't got a clue what they're doing. And I just wanted to really expose it. And as you said, Gio, bringing in Carl Walker is an indication of, okay, we've made a mistake. We're not going to say that we've made a mistake, but Carl Walker's coming in on a free, and he's clearly going to be better than Chicken Royale. So we're going to bring him in. And what? Chicken Royale is going to be his deputy at 4.5 million. It's embarrassing. It's frankly embarrassing.
But the interesting thing is there, right?
Yeah.
Is that it just shows. So if you look at so the way that his salary is going up there, right? Pretty much, it just shows you that once you're playing professional football, you literally can get worse and worse every year and still command more money.
Yeah.
It's
I don't.
fantastic.
Yeah, but you need a mug. You need a mug to purchase you and to think that
Mm.
you're, some kind of, I don't know, fix. I can't believe that somebody looked at Calabria and said, "We need Chicken Royale." I just can't. I just can't see it. I don't see any, like, honestly. There's no footballing reason, is it? But then that's the question: is
Mm,
the squad is not being assembled for footballing reasons? Like, you last night, it
mm.
showed you we were not being assembled for footballing reasons. Anyway, so I just wanted to do a bit of a recap because, as we said, we haven't done a Milanista 360 podcast. Um, so since the start of the year, so we basically Milan Cagliari, we had a draw, and that was remember, it was a big Fafana stumble on that particular goal. And then against Como, we were 1-0 down. We were getting absolutely battered, and we pulled it back. We then go to last night's game, or as for Geo, today's game, unfortunately. And I've got to say, it's the first game of the year that I paid to watch. And I have to honestly say that I'm glad I watched it. It exposed everything. Raw.
You paid? What do you mean by paid?
It, in the UK, it's gone behind a paywall, Geo. So it's £5 per game if you want to watch it.
Because stop piracy.
Yeah, well, one football has bought the rights, and so they've pulled all Serie A games out of any betting website. So you can no
Oh,
longer watch. So I can watch Spanish football, German football, but I can no longer watch Serie A without paying for it.
blessing in
And Gets
disguise, really, though. To be fair.
I mean, gets intense sports. Uh, Lab. Gorilla, like gets into sports. It's $30 for the whole year. You get UFC pay per views. You get La Liga. You get Serie A. You get everything. That's what
Uh,
I have.
well, well, that discussion is a discussion that definitely needs to be had. Particularly territories don't have the rights to even watch the game. It's just the whole thing is has become a mess.
But
But it,
VPNs are legal in UK, so you could pretend you're in the Ukraine and you get all that stuff.
yeah. I know. But then the question, Gio, is this: should I be paying anything at all to be watching this shit?
No,
I think that's the question that I need to be asking myself. It's
which is why I don't.
after seeing that last night, I was like, nah, this is a joke. Um, but come on, guys. All right, we reached halftime, and I remember saying at halftime, I WhatsApped all of you, and I said, we're very lucky that Juventus are so blunt up front. They're like a hammer. They are full of ball playing midfielders, very good at keeping the ball, good at possession. You can see that Motta loves that style of football. On our side, on the other, it looks like Conceição is actively telling the squad to, look for the killer pass as quickly as possible. Don't keep a hold of the ball. And the shocking thing for me, and you must have seen it, when Fofana tried to grab a hold of the ball and move forward, he got stripped of the ball. When Benny tried to grab a hold of the ball and move forward, he got stripped of the ball. So two very similar players who were both getting just ripped whenever they grabbed a hold of the football. But I said at halftime, these guys could keep attacking us for 90 minutes, for 2 days, and they wouldn't score in the current situation. What does Motta do at halftime? He sees this problem and he takes positive action. He brought on Weah, you know, and they started to be more direct. And of course, their first goal was a little bit lucky, but was it not warranted? I think they deserved that bit of luck, just like we had a bit of luck when we played against them and attacked them in the Super Cup. So they scored the first goal, and instead of Milan mounting a comeback, they just collapsed even worse. So, it really exposed the limitations of a squad that is imbalanced, does not have the appropriate subs on the bench. And the shocking thing, I think the most shocking sub that I saw and the most disappointing sub was Luka Jovic being put on. Camarda's put on, then Luka Jovic has been put on. I get it. You are desperate. You're just looking for anyone that can kick a ball to get on the pitch and hope. But no, I'm sorry. You could have put on a dummy. It wouldn't have made any difference there. And the problem now is this, the discussion was if we beat Juventus, we will go level on points with them, and because of head to heads, you will be above them. But I was thinking the other way. If we lose to them, the gap will expand to 6 points. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. In the meantime, we've got teams like Bologna, Fiorentina, and now Roma that are sniffing around us. Now, the question I've got, I think, for you, Gio, for you, Shane, is having seen what you saw, what could possibly happen in this transfer window to fix anything? And what position are we likely to finish in, having seen that performance? Should we start with you, Shane?
Sure. So we just need about 200 million from somewhere and about 5 world-class players. And once we get those, I'd say we should be all right. No, but seriously, the scary thing is looking at that Juventus squad last night, right? If they find a striker that can get his shit together, that's functional,
Yeah.
not Vlahovic, they are going to fucking wipe the floor in this area. That's all they're missing, basically.
Well, we made them look that good, Shane. This is the other thing, is we were very passive, in my opinion. Having seen that, like, so in the Gazzetta, there's an article that says Conceição has changed the squad already. Milan are giving away the ball. They are actively trying to attack much faster without keeping possession of the ball. That is in the Gazzetta's point of view. And that being the case, Juve are the exact opposite. They have filled their squad with people who are very comfortable on the ball, but don't have, as you said, that killer at the top. You add that killer at the top, you take a little bit away, and you can see why Juve are looking for a player, kind of like the guy that Bologna had last season, who they sold to Man United. What's his name? The Dutch
Zirkzee, is it?
guy, Zirkzee. Yeah, they
Bergkamp.
need. Say that
Bergkamp.
again.
Zirkzee.
Zerkamp.
Zerkamp. Yeah, yeah. So they're looking for that player to combine attack and the midfield better. They need that link. But yeah, you can tell, can't you? And people were laughing at Motta. People were saying this guy's garbage and so on. We just got schooled from a team that had Locatelli in midfield. Just
No, let's
pointing
be
that out.
honest, right? Weston McKennie was playing in right back.
And Shane, as we discussed pre-game, we discussed pre-show today,
Hmm.
Weston McKennie really out of position, and he taught us a lesson, which is embarrassing.
And I couldn't give a toss what anyone says. Weston McKennie is not a quality player, right? So if Weston McKennie is playing out of position as a very limited player that he is, and he
Yeah,
looks good, that'll tell you all you need to know.
yeah. So, Gio, what's your opinion on what we could do in the mercato and where we're going to finish in the season? You having looked at this?
I think we need to do what Manchester City are doing. They went out to go get Mamouche. They went out to get that guy from Uzbekistan. They went out to get Victor Rice, and then they're going in for like Cambiasa or something like that. But to me, I mean, I think I see the thing is like everybody sticks with Maldini, but what the management did, okay, they could have fired the guy, but what they did is when they messed up is they killed the heart and soul of the team. They sold number 8, and I think since then it's like we ain't got no pride, we ain't got nothing. What will save our season, John? To be honest, is you go to Cairo and you drop 50 million for reaching. I mean, that's the
Mm,
only thing that will save if they really are ambitious as they want to do, because they're gonna lose a lot of money. The revenue's gonna go up probably because we're gonna make top 8 in Champions League, or we're gonna
yeah,
go to another round, and because we're making a little bit more money now because of so many different games that we're playing. But like, if they're serious, because Fofana needs a break. This is like what's crazy. It's like they're doing interviews saying, "Yeah, we sold Tonali, but we got 4 players, but we're still short."
yeah,
Like like you just go across rivals like the bankrupt team, Inter. Like they have like 7 midfielders, 8 midfielders, and you just got the linchpin in Barella that never gets injured or anything like that, and he could play around with those guys, but we don't. All we're doing is what I think Fofana said it today. Like Tajani played 33 games, I played 28 games. It's just crazy, you know. And if we don't have those 2 guys, then I don't even know. We probably get shellacked. But my problem has always been, John, is like, okay, so we played 2 relegation sides, yes or no, right?
yeah,
Category and Como, right?
yeah,
So you telling me that Zeroli couldn't play in these games? This is what
exactly.
I've been telling like everybody. Like if Zeroli is good enough to wear the Milan colors, he's gonna prove it against relegation sides. If he can't prove it against relegation sides, then I'm sorry. It's time to sell the kid. Like, let's be honest. I love the kid. He did great getting by himself. He took us to 2 back-to-back top 4 finals in the youth league with a lot of talent. But I mean, if he can't play these games and give people rest, then this is the problem that we have. Look at
Yeah,
all our players that we let lay. Kirkus is about to Merkis, whatever his name is, 60 million.
yeah, I
That's
heard
what
that.
they want.
Yeah,
Somebody's gonna buy him. Paqueta would have been sold for 110 million, but he was gambling. CDK is about to go for 90 million to the Premier League. Like, I think it's only us that can really develop. We probably develop Leao and Dale, but everybody else has been basically like stagnated. So to me, it's time. I don't know if the management really want to get on our side. They just go to Cairo. They tell them 50 million. and then I'll give you Daniel Maldini in the summer. I'll just tell Galliani that we can't sell him or don't buy it, whatever the hell he wants to tell him, whatever lie he wants to tell him, and I'll give you Daniele Maldini in the summer, just for
Yeah.
like a icing on the cake to me. But I don't think. Look at Bologna. How did Bologna start? They were in relegation form, and
Yeah.
now they're like basically dunking on us.
Yeah. And I
And
openly will.
there's people that are positive, saying that we're gonna make top four, and I'm telling them how. That game in hand doesn't mean nothing. We go game in hand. Yeah, we're 3 points behind Juve, but like the way that they're going, they're doing reinforcements, and we're just waiting for Rock. We were waiting for Rashford. We took 2 weeks on Rashford. This is my problem from the last management and this management.
Yeah.
If a player doesn't tell you yes in 48 hours, that you can't convince them to come to this great club, because we're always going to have the prestige of being in this great club, then fuck them, bro. We've seen better players than Rashford, bro. Like a guy that never gets credit for Milan is Billy Costacurta. I would rather go fucking go to war with him than Rashford any day of the week. But
Mm.
that's what it is. Is I mean, I don't know if they that's still they won't get me on their side, but I'll just say like, okay, they want to make top four. Ricci is the player that we need. We need something because Gavia, that's it. That's the only Italian we really have. And I think everybody's been saying it to our legends from the past, and everybody's saying, "What do you think's missing from this Milan? Is that we don't have an Italian core." And it tells only Gavia, and the guy got benched for like 4 or 5 games. So it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah. There's no. So a couple of things there, Gio. I take all your points, and I agree with you, but I think unfortunately it's the 19th of January for us. In Kim's world, it's the 20th today, and we have not signed
Oh my
anyone.
God. So
Right.
when you think about it, it's only like what, 10 days left, give or
This
take?
is what I'm saying, Shane. This is what I'm saying, mate. When
Ah,
Conceição came in, the comment was, "We better back him up. Whatever he chooses, whoever he chooses, you back this guy because he's going to bring us to a better place than we were before." They have
mm,
not backed him. They've already spoken out loud that they are like, no, no, we're not going to spend big. We're going after a player who's free. We're going to pretend to bring in Rashford because we don't really have the money to bring in Rashford. Or I should say, no, we don't have the money. We don't want to spend the money
no, don't
on
want to. Yeah, that's
a,
the thing.
a big wage player. So
Mm,
you have this, which is a complete break between sporting ambition of the fans and actually a club that has been put together for no other reason. Like it's a club that's been put together by chief financial officers. It's not a club that's been put together by a sporting director that knows what they're doing or a technical director that knows what they're doing working together in unison with a manager. No, this is a chief financial officer AC Milan assembled squad, and that is what gives you 31 points after 20 match days. It is a situation that is not, in my opinion, fixable in a single transfer window because you have to show ambition. You have to bring in players and you have to do it early because Conceição needs those players. That he needs those bodies, as Gio just said. Fofana, Reindeers, they've played X number of games. Yeah, but then remember, no youth was integrated. Everything that was said to us was a lie. And we are where we are today. I believe that those kids are good enough. I believe that the Futuro, I'm going to say it, the Futuro system is a complete mess and they
mm,
should disband it. I'm going
mm,
to tell you now, Shane. We keep taking massive losses and, sitting in the bottom four, which is going to be potentially a playoff for relegation. Those kids should never have been put into that situation. They should have been integrated bit by bit.
mm.
And I think you would have seen them make a contribution. I cannot blame them. In fact, I'm quite proud of those kids that stood up for themselves and said, I need to jump ship. This is
Yep.
not for me. You know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Simiches here, but I'm
Mm.
talking about the rumors right now that several of the youth kids are being talked about as leaving the club. Because why
Why
would
wouldn't
you
you
stay,
really?
Shane?
There's no project. You can't
Exactly.
possibly pay for the first team.
No,
So
there's if
yeah,
you've got someone who is being paid 4.6 million euros at right back, and he comes with Mayo, you can't possibly for 1 second think that you've got a chance to get in to that squad.
but you see, do you know what my huge? This is the biggest concern, right? And I think this is more. This speaks to more about where we're at and why we are here, right? And I think some of the dumb channels out there, right, that are going to basically go and keep defending the management, right? What they'll do, right? They'll use the players as an excuse now, right?
Yes.
So what they'll do is they'll say, right, guys, it's not our management, right, or it's not our owners that are at fault here. It's the players on the pitch, right?
Yeah.
So the direct response I'd have to them is, who is picking the players on the pitch, right? And who is picking the players on the pitch is Moncada. And Moncada said himself, right, that when they're looking at players, they look at a psychological profile of a player,
Ah.
right? They
Yeah.
want to get a player who doesn't fucking complain, right? Who just sits
Mm.
down and does what he's told to do in the dressing room, right? That
Yeah.
is a weak man. And there was 11 weak men that were out on that pitch last night. 11 weak men, right? This is what is happening. This is directly related to Moneyball and directly related to the fucking idiots that are choosing the players that are coming in. So when you said to me, John, about what players can fix this, John, to be honest, I don't know, because any players that we get in, fucking Kyle Walker or anyone else, right? Pele reborn at this point, right? Could come in the morning, right? And I'd be
Mm.
concerned because this fucking ownership are choosing it and this management are picking it. I have very little faith that they'll pick the right one. If they do pick the right one, right? Because
Mm.
of the reasons that I just stated about that player being a quintessential yes man, right? He's going to be weak in character, and weak in character players are what we don't need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fuck.
Yeah, I can't disagree with those comments, Shane. Yesterday we saw 11 very very weak players that again when pushed just fell apart. And you put a team in front of them. Motta saw what was going on. He saw the absolute domination, and I guess Juventus fans must have watched this for quite a bit of the season. A squad that just can't take their chances and then get bitten, and that's why they've had so many draws. Because you could go 1-0 up and then do nothing. In this case, they went 1-0 up and just kept pushing and scored a second because we just didn't respond until we were 2-0 down. And then, of course, you throw in every single body you can and you get something. You get a little bit of a response, but it was truly awful. Tammy Abraham, Shane, was he the answer to our striking problem? No. And I'm not, several podcasts have spoken about how little this ownership has spent on actual strikers since they've been there. So I'm not going to repeat that. But come on, Morata, what would he have done, even if he had been fit or not suspended or whatever?
There's no
He would have
difference.
just
We don't.
fallen down like a Bambi on ice anywhere.
But see,
So
but this is
Range,
the thing, though, John. Right? This is
yeah,
the thing, right? If let's not even right. Let's not even talk about the names of the players anymore, right? Because
yeah,
every single one of them, right, are they're all as guilty as one another, right? Teo and Leao, which I disagree with what Gio was saying about. I think they've hit their peak, right? I still think they're world class, right? But
mm,
okay, I won't say world class. World class is consistently world class every week. Okay, I won't go that far. I still think they're very, very good players, right? But the thing is even at their best, right, they're inconsistent. And they're inconsistent because there was no leadership on the pitch, or there was a lack of it, right? I'd say
yeah,
arguably, with the likes of Kier going, and fair enough, Ibra out of the playing position,
mm,
I think that took away any leadership that's on the pitch, right? But Yan, who I think should remain as our captain, right? But you need someone out in the middle of the pitch that's directing stuff and fucking basically screaming and shouting at
no,
people if
there's
they're not
nothing
getting what they
there.
need.
There's
There's nothing
there's
there,
nothing.
right?
There's nothing there.
Because there are 11 fucking, or there's 10 outfield fucking Moneyball fucking players, right? And
Yeah.
Moneyball at its core says, because of Moncada's algorithms, Moncada has to say, oh, if I get someone in, right, they have to be a yes man and they just have to gel with the rest of the squad. They can't have a fucking opinion. So
Yeah.
we're wondering then why there's no fight in the fucking club, and this is why.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
I'm going to be super cynical and I'm going to say that some of the players that have been playing since Conceição came in have not been playing because he considers them good. They've been playing because he wants to put them in the club have told him to put them in the shop window so that they can be bought. I'm
well,
going to be cynical in saying that, and I think I'm allowed to say that. I just want to say hello, Carmelo, as well. I know you're watching. Yes, I couldn't sleep. I was so angry last night. So I decided with Shane to just like let's go live and have a conversation about this because we have a club that is not a sporting entity anymore. And that's what I see it as. And it's time to say it. It's time to say it. Cardinale predicted this. He will never buy a big club. His sweet spot is sixth to eighth place.
and he
Well,
hasn't.
thank you.
You know,
Cardinale, you got the sweetest sweet spot you could ever go for. Thank you very much.
Jesus Christ. And you know the worst thing is there's still people that are surprised. You know,
No,
it's a
no.
because to be honest though, guys, this is what we're built for right now. You know, the longer that the Cardinal stays here, you know, we can only have so many you know, limited edition jerseys before people just get fed up and go, why the fuck am I buying tack related to this once magnificent club?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but we had this discussion about financial fair play, Shane, just briefly,
Mm.
and I understand that we might be being monitored for financial fair play and something about if we keep the books good until this summer, we might be free of it or whatever. But Shane, it's still a conscious decision. If you've got 40 million to spend, it is still a conscious decision to buy three players instead of one quality player. Do
Yep.
you get me? Like one is ambition to change something, to bring in maybe an Italian player who's demonstrated real quality that's just gonna cost a bit more because that's how it works, or to bring in three players who you hope can moneyball. I mean, I know how moneyball works. The idea is you get players who maybe have been shunned by other clubs, but your statistics and your analysis indicates that they might be able to give you a little bit of, like a Carl Walker. That's an idea here. And Ibrahimovic was asked openly, Shane and Gio, he was asked,
Mm.
did you uh, is this not going against your algorithms bringing in Carl Walker? And he says, no, this still fits with our model. The model is what? Because
Yeah, this is a bit concerning then, because to be honest, right, like didn't wasn't that essentially what Maldini was calling for before he got the chap, which is what they're starting to do now.
what do you mean?
He was calling for, like, you know, basically better quality players.
Yeah, no. So Maldini, this is all explained really, really well. Maldini said, okay, 3-year plan to get to the Champions League. This is what you need, and you
Mm.
need, you need investment. You need a lot of investment. And Cardinale and the team were like, no, that's not how this club is going to work. This is not the entity that we want to build, and
Yeah.
so we're going to completely strip you away, strip everything that you've done away. And if Tomori does leave, first of all, I believe that if he does leave, there's stories, Shane,
Mm.
that our mercato is so dependent on Tomori leaving that money for their financial plans. That's what it would require. And you think, what is going on here?
We've
That's not correct. That
we've
cannot be correct.
we've spent about a third of what Juventus have spent.
Yeah, I am not gonna try and understand how the hell Juventus, like the way Juventus do their deals is like just incredible. They bring
We're
in
earning
players
more
that
money. We're John, but
60.
like we have.
Yeah.
What is the point in having better accounts if you can't then, like, you know, if you can't use some of the money that you're generating and actually put it into playing staff?
But that's the thing, Shane. You're a football fan. These people are not. They are books fans.
But
So
where's the
their
fucking money
ultimate
going
goal,
though?
Shane, is end of year profit. It is
Oh,
not. league position is not. You think the two things should be linked together. A Champions League qualification gives you revenues, right?
Mm,
But I'm telling you, a Super Cup win, 11 million. So that Conceição comes in. I mean, guys, I'm going to say it right. None of us thought for one second that Fonseca was going to be fired. The reason was because they were like, well, there's no way you're going to get rid of him because you'll lose 2.5 million for his contract, right?
yeah.
We didn't know that there was a clause in his contract that said that we only have to pay you 1 year of your contract if within the first 6 months we fire you. We didn't know that clause existed, right?
Brilliant.
But that means Fonseca lasted 200 days. They then activated that clause, they cut him loose. So he only
Nice.
got paid for 1 year. Conceição has the same thing. It's only so like 1 million, 1.5 million until the summer, and then there's going to be a reassessment. This is how these people are working. They are only thinking balance books, end of year profit
Mm.
equals success. Not like us. We're seeing any Milan fan knows that killing the old lady, destroying the old lady, gives you absolute, pleasure. Yeah, any Milan
Especially
fan
now
knows.
because we need to get into the top four. Like,
Yeah,
this is the
I
thing.
mean, it's just unacceptable. It is completely and utterly unacceptable. In our heads, we can't separate sporting and financial ambition. We can't separate it in our heads because we can't comprehend it. These people don't give a flying fuck. I'm sorry to say it. They don't care about the sporting side at all, and that's what ends up with a squad like this.
Mm,
This squad has not been built for anything other than selling shirts,
mm.
right? Okay, I wouldn't even be surprised if they said, you know what, we want that player because his face would look good on as a model on a particular shirt. That's how petty I'm going to be about this.
Mm.
This is not a sporting club. This is not a sporting people who are putting a club together. And until these guys are honestly, if Cardinale wants anybody to listen to him, he needs to fire those three people right now.
It has to. It has to. I like
It has to.
it's getting to the point, man, right? Where honest to God, right? Honestly, if you have Emerson Royale, if you call yourself a serious club, you have Emerson Royale starting as your right back, right? For a period for like it's been over 6 months now, right? Questions have to be asked. I couldn't give a shit how favorable the contract was. That player needs to be sold. It's an embarrassment to see a player of that level of quality playing for this club. I'm really sorry.
Shane, it to me it undoes everything that Moncada has done for us.
100%. He
For
has to
him
go.
to assess Emerson Royale as being a Milan player, for this algorithm to say that Emerson Royale also fits the Milan model,
Oh,
we're focusing on one player, but I am telling you, he is just one of many.
yeah.
One of many, dude.
Yeah.
Musa played every single. For God's sake, what are you trying to do here? You're not trying to win matches. You're not trying to compete against the best. You're not trying to be a serious football club. You know what a serious football club does? A serious football club goes out there and says, you know what? I might sell Kavara for 70, 80 million, selling to PSG. I'm going to go and get. The manager goes straight to ownership and says, you give me that money
Yep.
and I'm going to spend it on someone serious and I'm going to be a threat. That's what a serious football club does. A serious football club brings in Conceição maybe in the summer, gives him a full preseason and says, we'll back you. A serious football club doesn't take 20 days in the January transfer window to sign anybody and then talks about, and I'm telling you, I bet you they expedite Kyle Walker within the next couple of days to try and appease the fans after that disgusting
100%.
performance that we saw.
But John, like, do you know, even this thing of it's not like how embarrassing does it look, right? When you're a team playing in the Champions League, right? And you're going into the season, right? And your fucking choices as a striker, right? You have Morata, which I don't give a shit what anyone says. I still think there's a space for Morata, right? Not as a number 9. Here's the problem,
Yeah.
right? But so you have Morata, right? Not as a number 9, right? You have Tammy Abraham, who's tragic, right? You have Jovic, right, whose whose best years are well behind him, right? Like going into the start of the season with the three of those, right? And the worst part about that was that like we had the chance in the summer, right, to go and get like there was three or four like solid quality strikers that we could have gotten, and
Yeah.
instead we went for a loan deal, right, for a very average player from Roma, right, which fixes an issue for Roma because it frees up a slot so they could go and get what's that guy's name, Ukrainian lad.
Oh my god, I've forgotten his name.
They got
You're
him
talking about the
from
striker.
Irona, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Dobrik,
Dubrovnik.
yeah,
Dobrik.
Dobrik, that's the one, right? So like,
yeah,
so we fixed one of their issues, right? Got them to give us, offload a junk player to us, freed up a squad, right? So they got the striker that, one of the strikers essentially that we should have gotten.
yeah,
This is very embarrassing. Like, I mean,
yeah.
it's all of these levels of embarrassment. Do you know
So
what I
Shane,
mean?
you can take me off. You can take
Oh,
this.
sorry, yeah.
You can take that off,
I'll,
and then we can just have a chat because I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the post game from Conte Sal.
yeah, spot on because there was quite a bit in that. So let me just remove the screen share. Thanks a million for joining as well, Gio. Gio, I'm going to run through. There's a couple of Cancecio's post game comments. There's you see some of these
What
could be.
time is it over there? What time it is it over there?
Oh,
Y'all look like y'all barely woke.
I did, yeah. Well, it's 9:15, so I'm usually no good until at least 1 p.m. But
Yeah, and I'm an hour earlier than him.
you're
So
8, yeah. Yeah, so a bit
yeah,
tired, man. But so just going into right, Cancecio's post-match comments, right? So he was asked about the reaction in the second half and why it never seemed to come. So Canceccio said, this again is after the Juve game. In the first half, it was a balanced game. We had more chances. In the second half, Juve had more desire to win, more hunger. We could have conceded another goal at the start of the second half because we wanted to play out of the area with the opponent pressing. These are things I don't understand, but I'm the one responsible to coach. The first step to winning a game is wanting to win,
oh
right? So he's
yeah,
calling out the players, right? There's no one else. So the journalist then pushes him a bit and says, so Milan didn't want to win. And Conceição says, that's what I say. But what
oh
tiredness, what fuel, come on. The players have everything they need to recover from previous matches. We need to have an empty fridge at home to be hungrier. All right. So again, he's he's really going after the players here.
oh
So the journalist then says to him, how concerned or stimulated are you by the characteristic of this team that has difficulty in putting that little bit extra in? And Conceição says, that's exactly it. I had small teams when I started coaching 13 years ago, and I had teams that weren't that great on a technical level, but had incredible hunger and desire. That's how life is. We need to have goals and we need to grow. So let me see. Okay, so I'm the one who has to change the players' attitude and mentality. I'm the one responsible. I'm the coach, and I take responsibility for this defeat because I wasn't good at halftime, and then this drop in level came in the second half. If we miss a goal and the opponent was good, that's fine. But when we're missing other things for me, it's difficult because it's me as a coach who has to change the situation. So the last part, just to recap. So in difficult moments, Cancelo, with so many absences, aren't the most representative players the ones who had to give something more like Teo and Leao? So Cancelo says, yes, my opinion, we can't always rely on more experienced players. The others have their responsibilities as well. It's not like we can put all the weight on the shoulders of Teo, Leao, and Mike. That's not right. There are also others, and they can't hide. It's football and it's life. I played for 25 years, and I know how it is. In these difficult moments, those who have more experience and more maturity emerge, but no one should hide. We have to look each other in the eye and see how we can do more, me first, and how to change this situation.
yeah.
So, I guess we'll start with Gio. Gio, what are your thoughts on those very striking comments there about our bullshit fucking players?
I mean, it's about time. I mean, we performed for that week in Saudi Arabia, and then we've gone missing, man. I mean, everybody. I think they gave us fake hope, and like I said, like that Super Cup, I sure got to go back, return to center, to be honest. Yes, because it's like it's just disappointing, and I think this is what like now I'm starting to see. Like I've always criticized the team, but like I was like, okay, you know what? The manager has come in. I'm gonna give him a good shout, make sure he's doing his thing. But now it's the players, and even when we won the Super Copa, we basically only played good for 20 minutes of each game. And I've been saying that we're a team that's not fit. I mean, when Calgary outruns you in kilometers, when Cuomo outruns you in kilometers, like it's something. It's bad, and our fitness of the team is bad, and we're always going down every same year. International break, whatever happens, all this time this year, we never have our full squad, while other teams do.
You see, what makes me really pissed off about? I completely agree with what you said, Gio. Right? What really, at a certain point in the history of any club, there's always like turning points, right? And I think a key turning point for me was, remember when we were linked with Investcorp that time, and it was all looked to be a done
Mm,
deal, right? And next thing, then Investcorp or Elliot used the excuse anyway that someone from Investcorp came out and congratulated Milan, and Elliot didn't like it, so they were reviewing other financiers. So then they went with Redbird. I think that was like a watershed moment, because if you have someone with infinite money, right, what they'll do is they'll come in, right? They'll look at what's not working, right? They'll employ the best that they can possibly get. So I think all of these fitness issues would no longer be a thing, because of a world class fitness team, right? Would have a world class medical team, would have probably have a world class scouting team by now, because these guys can fucking afford it and they can execute, right? So, but instead we have none of those things. We have some fucking, Mickey Mouse fucking owner who doesn't even have the money to own the club himself. And I think that's the watershed moment, because it's kind of added, like, forget the Scudetto season, right? And forget this Mickey Mouse fucking 2 fucking game trophy, right? I still think we're still in the banter era that we haven't escaped from since fucking Berlusconi's fucking, like, sold us down the river, right?
yeah, but Shane, listen, the ineptitude. You can start to put together an entire dossier of events where this management team has shown itself to be completely inept. Like let's just start at the end of December.
Mm.
Fonseca, everyone knew he was sacked. He was sent out like a
The
lamb
man
to the
himself
wolves
didn't know.
in front of the press, and they were like, "Do you know that you're fired?" And the fact that he came out of the car park in his car, lowered his window, and said, "Yeah, I've been fired." Embarrassing, absolutely humiliating, not for him, but also demonstrating that whoever it was, Furlani or Ibrahimovic or whoever, didn't have the balls to go with him in front of the press and say, maybe don't even speak, okay, because we're making a decision. Then to come out and say, we made the decision of Conceição over the last 24 hours. No, you didn't. That's not how these things work. Don't take us for fools and say that. Then you bring in Conceição, and then you say to him, this is the man we wanted. No, it isn't. It is not the man that you wanted, because that's not the man you brought in. Then you look at the players they brought in. That again, Moncada has lost any credibility because of the players that have come in. I'm not giving him any more time for his behavior and for any more of these random ass signings from garbage lands. Okay. Now, Furlani at the top of it as the CEO, ultimately he signs off on everything, Shane, right? He has shown himself to be inept to a level that is unquestionable. You can't for 1 minute, and I've said, you signed off on 4.6 million for Chicken Royale on a contract till 2028. You have signed off on that. You've looked at the numbers and you said that's going to bring us profit. Now, Furlani has said you can have a good player on a 30 million contract and lose all of it, or you can have a bad player on the right contract and you can make profit. What bullshit is that, Shane? What does that even like? I genuinely wonder why any fan is surprised at what we're seeing on the pitch today. 20th, 19th of January for us. We've
Like,
not
see,
signed a player. We're talking about a free signing from Manchester City. That's all we're talking about. That is not a club trying to do anything, is it? Like
well,
you,
we're talking about the Curva suit and how pissed off they were a couple of weeks ago. And they were
I,
so pissed off that they didn't even show up for the Juve game because they were bitching about ticket prices.
yeah, I'm not going to the Curva Sud discussion, mate, because I ultimately, at the end of the day, I've heard rumors. I follow some Italian podcasts and stuff, right? And I've heard rumors from them that the ownership are trying to push out the ultras entirely so that they can fill more executive seats and have them pay more for that part of the stadium. Now, that is just a vicious rumor. But the point is, isn't it? The Curva Sud say to themselves, we've been here the longest. We're the most serious fans. Therefore, we shouldn't have to pay the same fee that, other fans pay for a season ticket.
But
That's what they say.
Didn't the Juventus Ultras say the exact same thing before they were kicked out?
Juventus' stadium is tiny, Shane, compared to ours
But
in terms
didn't
of seating capacity.
I'm fairly sure something happened with the Juventus Ultras. Like, they were kicked out as well, weren't they?
You know my opinion on this, Shane.
Hmm.
My opinion on this, I don't want ultras.
No, we don't.
That's my opinion.
No, that's that age of the game is long gone.
Yeah, but
But
to say one thing, we're still we're still holding on to the fact that these people are supposed to represent us in
Hmm.
some way or other, right? Now,
Hmm.
if they do represent us, if they want to say that, what are they doing? I was
not
talking
showing up
to
to a Juventus game. That's what they're not
well,
doing.
not showing up. Yeah, whatever. Not showing up. What shocks me, I'm from a different era that where management would find it very scary to walk around, right? If
Yeah.
this kind of behavior happened, you'll be like, you're not welcome in my city. I'm telling you, in the 80s, the kind of that ultra behavior that existed was like that. Now, I'm not saying that is what they should be doing today, but I do think that Ibrahimovic should be like, this ain't right. I should be shitting myself right now.
But
Juventus has
lad, Gorilla, John, they walked through the side gate, so they felt the heat.
Yeah,
That's
they were.
where
That's true.
that's
That's
where the
true.
management that's all like I can't believe anything that they say. When you walk through the side gate and they had to put you through security and you can't walk in front of the fans like a man, and I mean what credibility do you have? And what Jerry doesn't want ultra, he only wants OnlyFans.
Yeah, yeah. Pay more in it. Holy, God's sake, unbelievable. I don't know, man. I just went into a bit of a rant there. I didn't want to do that. But yeah, Shane, listen, I would remove the ultras anyway. As I said, I'll remove them ultras anyway. But I would say that stadium should not be sold out. That stadium should be empty because they're not doing anything to deserve
No,
our money. They're
no.
not doing anything to deserve our
No, but they'll
support.
still get it though because it'll be limited edition. I don't know, fucking Furlani fleshlight or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? They'll always come up with novel ways of screwing fucking fans out of their money. But at this point,
Yeah.
what are you paying for? Are you paying for an A-place finish? Are you paying to rock up in the fucking Conference League next year? Are we really paying for all of these Mickey Mouse trophies? That's essentially what we're doing. And the root cause of it though is just that we're not, we have to be serious. Like, and if we're serious, like that involves spending serious money on serious players, right? And we're never going to do that under this ownership.
No, it
You
doesn't
know,
matter, financial fair play or otherwise. The
ah,
ultimate objective here, Shane, in
mm,
my opinion,
mm,
is another year with positive books. They'll see that as a success, and there are fans out there who also see that as a success above all else. As you said, they're probably the same fans that said that match against Inter is the greatest ever Milan derby that they've seen.
At what point, just as a shout out to the fans who give a shit more about the balance sheets of the club, right? At what point did something so bad happen to you in your life, right, that you chose to be a fucking loser and accept being second best at everything?
uh,
How much of a fucking loser are you?
Look, I'm gonna give you guys an example. So, like, I live in LA, so LA is a Lakers city, right?
Mm.
But and then Steve Ballmer bought the Clippers, right? He moved them into his own stadium. He put more money in the team, but he doesn't care. Like, he just wants a championship. It hasn't happened, but hey, man, he keeps just pumping in money, even knowing that the organization that he bought is like loserville. But nobody cares about like the balance in the books or anything. Who cares, bro? Like, we pay the ties. Like, dude, it's crazy to like if you want to buy a shirt from Milan store, you want to get it with the patches and everything. Like, you have to pay like 40 US dollars to get it. Like, it's just crazy. So, I mean, I think now is the time. It's like, okay, we're supporting the club, we're paying our ties, but who cares about balance to the book? That's not our problem. We
No,
put the money in the club. Like, that's what I said. What ambition do they have now?
there's
Okay,
none, man. There's none.
they say that they made 450 million in 1 year, which was the most ever in Milan history. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. Like,
But none of
but
it's
like, go
none of it's
go
showing up
show
on the
ambition.
pitch. Yeah, none of
That's
it's
what I'm
showing
saying.
up on the pitch, Gio. This is the thing. It's like none of this, none of this wealth is showing up on the pitch. Like we've the highest paid fucking board, like
that's
like
right.
CEO level fucking we've the highest paid CEO level board level members, right, in the fucking Italian league. Right? That's so it like I'm
Okay,
looking at
hold on, guys. Breaking news. So we just agreed to sell Tamori. It's up to Tamori if he wants to leave.
I mean, Gio, listen.
What
This is what these
the
this is what these guys are doing. This is what everyone there is in a shop window. You know when Tomori was being played, everyone was saying. I've heard so many people say to me, "It's because Conte Sao is a strong manager and he sees something in him." I was thinking cynically, that is not what's happening. He has been told to put him in the shop window so we get more amount, and he gets match fit as well. Now, I'm
I-
telling you, Gio, if
dude.
this is confirmed that he's gone, yeah, we're
Ibrahimovic literally came out only a few days ago and said, "No, no, 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 we want Tomori to stay."
Yeah, DiMarzio saying, Luba Bianchi saying it, everybody's saying it. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. So good.
Yeah, that's
Tomorrow,
rotten.
yeah.
well.
So
There you
I
go.
mean,
Our turn to do some breaking news, Gio.
Yeah. So
I'll,
Cardinal is doing his best to reinforce a direct competitor, right? And the thing is they'll end up in the Champions League this year, right? And we'll be playing in the Europa, and we'll be wondering why. And it's little things like this because if Kalulu wasn't enough of a bonus for them, right, we're giving away our starting centre back as well.
well, Shane, this is the point. Was Tomori supposed to be a starting centre back? He
I think
wasn't supposed to be a starting centre back. He was put in that position to put him in the shop window to get him match fit to sell him.
mm,
That is what I believed from day one that Conte Sao came in and made that switch. And there's another thing I need to tell you. Conte Sao has been quoted as saying he really rates Ruben Loftus Cheek, and he's going to start playing him when he's ready. Right?
Conceição was like I would need to see that on tape. Actually, no, I wouldn't need to see a recording of it. I'd actually need to see it with my own eyes. Conceição
Because
doing
you
that.
wouldn't believe it, would you?
No,
Yeah, he really rates Ruben Loftus Cheek. So I am not here to point the finger at Conceição, Shane. What I'm telling you is that management are telling him what to do. They are telling him, play this guy because we have to sell him. Play, play. Every time you can, put on Chicken Royale because it's 4.6 million of mayo.
and he's
Honestly,
And he's like, I just imagine, because any time that he plays fucking Royale, right, he's going, the motherfucker's getting worse, right? And they're like, yeah, but we
I
need
mean,
to
you
play
look at the
him,
game
right?
last night. At the end of the first half, I was like, people were like, "Oh, he's actually all right," and then bang, there you go. See ya,
I
see
know,
ya.
I
Second half,
know.
he showed you exactly what he's worth.
The game summed up Chicken Royale in a nutshell what he is.
That's
He's
it.
he's clueless. Okay, so we had a break, right? Yeah, you guys remember when
Mhm.
we're like 3v2, right? And what
Yeah,
happens, Royale? He can't even get a crossover,
No,
a pass over. It gets blocked,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
yeah,
break is done, and then he's defending good, and then I'll say, okay, he's doing his job. And then when he defends Umbula, and then he just sticks out his leg and boom, goal.
deflected
Like he
goal.
don't put it in.
Def-
That's chicken royale. Like we're just gonna be on a shit show, and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I get it. I get it. People are trying to grasp a hold of those straws and
there
say,
has to be something, like, there must be,
"Yeah,
you know,
that's what there's." They're like, "There's got to be." That you remember that comment? Chicken Royale will accelerate now. Cardinale said. Like, what are
accelerate.
you talking about? Like, what accelerate? What?
What's he going to accelerate? Like,
His bank account.
his bank account is
I mean,
accelerating. Yeah.
exactly. You can't blame the player for being told, "Hey, you're going to go to a legendary club, the biggest club you've ever been to, and we're going to pay you more than you've ever been paid before, and give you a contract till 2028." He's rubbing his hands together, saying, "Thank you very much. What number shall I have?
The man,
Ooh,
the
can I have
man
the
named
22,
himself
please?"
Royale. The man named himself Royale. That's not his given name. He named himself Royale
Uh,
because he thought so. That'll tell you all you
you
need.
know what? I never liked him since he chose Barca over us.
Hmm.
So like when he was trying to come back, I already knew it. Like, nah, bro, it didn't work. What Barca didn't work was Tottenham. I
Hmm.
mean, we dunked on him. Like Leao abused them in that Champions League draw, and we still went out to buy him, bro. Like I don't really know. And what doesn't really
Hmm.
help us is like Cafu comes out and talking. All these Brazilians are coming to talk in defense of Royale that he's working, he's progressing. Bro, this guy is trash, bro. Like these guys need to shut up. If they not like in the club or anything, they need to show. Cafu was saying that Emerson was working good to be at his peak. Peak of what?
His
Defending
peak
and
though is
cross.
still like he's a Serie B player. Like, it doesn't matter.
Nah, he said it, Chi. He said
So
it,
it's
Chi, man.
He's futuro, man. He is
he's a
futuro.
Serie
That's what he's for.
brilliant. That's why he was bought. He was bought for the futurity.
He was bought for the. So the question I've got for you guys: if
Hmm.
it's confirmed that Tomori's gone, that takes away another centre back. Are you seriously telling me? Like, just think about it, Gio and Shane. Who's left?
Pavlova and Gavia
And Chow.
and Chow.
No, but Chow's injured right now, muscle fatigue. We don't
That's
have him
right.
till like 2 more weeks.
Does
That's
So
right.
it just
does
so
anyone, including anyone in the chat, does anyone in the chat as well, right? And anyone here, does anyone think that Pavlovich is a football player? Because he's not.
he's
Uh,
he's at the Milan basketball games. He should be playing Milan. He should be playing basketball instead.
He should
from
be
that
doing
training session.
MMA, man.
Yeah.
Like the guy. The guy has skills, but
Yeah.
not as a football player. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
Exactly.
Jesus
He's got.
Christ.
He's got. He can injure Morata in training, severely send him to hospital. But I don't. I just don't understand now. If Tomori has gone, that means we have to sign a centre back as well.
Yeah,
So all of a sudden, what are you going to do? Oh, we got 30 million. We can buy 5 players.
No, we
we
don't
won't
have
though.
30 million because it's a buy option. It's not
Oh,
even an
Oh,
oh,
option.
of course it is. Of
it's
course
a
it is.
loan. It's
Yeah,
a
of course it
loan.
is.
Jesus
I love
Christ.
it. Absolutely love it. Of course it is. I forgot another inept.
It's a loan. We don't even get the money.
There you
All
go.
right.
More ineptitude. I mean, there you go. Evidence here. Shane, add it to your book of evidence.
Mm.
We're literally going to end up with like a 500-page book by the end of this
This is
season.
No, okay, right. So starting quality centre back. We need something like a functioning CDM, right?
We need a right back.
Need a right back. Need a striker.
Need a striker.
Let's try and get all of those with what are they paying for the loan deal? 5 million up
Well,
front.
we got 11. We got 11 million from the Super Cup,
Uh,
right?
So that's 16 million. Let's go and get five, quality players with the 16 million. This is why it's called Moneyball.
Hey, Gio, let's go get Richie for 16 million. Come on.
Yeah,
Actually, no, we need some other players. So let's get Richie for 3 million.
that's it.
And
This
what
is
a
fucking
joke of a
horrific.
John,
club.
this is the last question before I go to
Yeah.
bed. I say we go. I say we go to Torino, right? I say, look, I got 30 million for you right now, plus Liberale. You doing the deal?
Oh,
No, I give it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Give offer him Royale, Gio. Just say, look,
They're gonna reject us, right? When they say, yeah.
I
No,
give
I'm
you
asking
30
serious,
million
John.
and Royale for free.
30, 30,
No,
30
I'm sorry,
million and
Gio.
Liberale.
I know Liberali is no, I don't get rid of Liberali, Gio. I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. I think I've been saying this for a long time.
But
I'm one of the guys
we
that
will
said,
lose him for free. We will lose him for free with his new
listen,
agency.
that's not my intention. Is actually for Conceição to start dipping into that bullshit Futuro team, pull those players out and rescue them. Like they're a
Before they get
sinking ship,
relegated.
right? Rescue them, rescue them, and start integrating them. There's your answer for cheap. And I don't give a shit about the season because to me, this season is gone in the bin anyway, right? I really don't care about the season. The difference is these guys are pretending that we do care, that they do care about the season. These people don't care about our season. I'm telling like this is the other thing that's going to happen, Shane and Gio. We are probably going to, first of all, the game against Girona is not a given that we're going to win, right? But a serious club should just get rid of Girona and beat them. And then Dinamo Zagreb should beat them. So if Milan finish top eight, listen to all the morons who are going to come out and say Milan is a serious club. They could win the Champions League. Uh, we've made it to the knockout phases in the top eight. We're one of the top eight clubs in Europe. You're going to hear bullshit like that.
Yeah,
Gio, please, if you hear it in your podcast, and people say to you, we're one of the top eight clubs in Europe, you could tell them to F off
yeah, no.
right there and then. I want to
Listen,
hear Gio say F you. That's what I
no.
want to
Now
hear.
I'm gonna tell nephew, man. Like you know what was crazy? So I'm coming off a high, right?
Mm,
Yesterday, my doctors we got like the number one prospect. You know, everybody crying because we're spending a shitload of money this off season, right? To
mm.
try to repeat. You know, and then Milan plays today, and they just shitted on me. But thank you guys for having. Thank you guys for having me, man. I'm gonna head
Oh,
out
thank you, Gio, for coming.
and ciao.
All right.
Good night, mate. Have a
God
good
bless,
sleep.
man. Good night.
Get some rest.
All right.
That is a long day for him, man. He's watched Milan. He's still going.
Still fucking going,
Oof,
man. All right.
that's
So
gotta be
tomorrow he's
painful.
gone, Jan.
Well, that
Another
was quite
another one.
something, wasn't it?
Another one out of the Scudetto shit pile. Gone.
That makes no that like honestly, Shane. Like
Mm.
what a 5 million option to buy, 5 million with an option to buy. What are you doing?
And to be honest, we paid more for him than that. Do you
No,
know what I
but
mean?
Shane, I don't understand. What is going on? What's the objective there? Who are you making space for? Not Pavlovich.
There must be someone else.
There must be someone in the background, and we probably won't be able to even. Do you remember that podcast where Nico was reading out the names of the players? I was like, what?
Mm.
Boob something. I like.
Yeah. No, they
Let's
must
let's
have.
sign that player.
Because the weird thing is as well, right, is that like if so I think the figures are going to be 28 million in total for Tamori,
Yeah,
but they paid like 30 plus for Tamori from Chelsea back in the day.
I
So
don't know. I don't know.
Anyway,
I just wait to hear those people that are going to be rubbing their hands together and saying that money's already in the bank, like they did with Okafor, and they were like, "Yeah, 28 million. Oh, we got 28 million." And I said,
it's like, no,
"You
you don't.
guys,
No,
you're
you
on
don't.
drugs, man.
Yeah,
They're literally using us,
it's
and
kind of
they're
that.
not."
It's kind of that. You know that cope level that some fans do. It's like, oh,
Oh,
let's. Like I made a joke about it earlier when I was saying like, oh, go to Cairo at Torino and offer him like chicken royale, and we'll just take Ricci for like no money. It's like that's a joke, right?
yeah.
But like some some
Some people
fans
will
will
take
go,
that seriously. Yeah, yeah. They'll be
yeah,
like, "Oh, yeah, let's do that. It's a good idea."
yeah.
I
Or
mean,
like Liberali's worth 100 million. Let's swap him for Mbappe. What?
ah,
It's that kind of like it's just because they're
yeah.
your players. It doesn't mean that they're. Anyway,
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't know, man. I just think there's very big deals going on. There's talks of, as Kim mentions here, Cambiaso, Man
Mhm.
City really looking at him and possibly putting something in the figure of plus 60 million euros on the
Jesus.
table. That's how they balance their books, or try anyway.
Mhm.
Um, and then there's obviously talks of what is it? What I'm just trying to think of that player. Oh yeah, of course, Cavara's gone to PSG for 70 something million, and
So
now
he's not a serious player, by the way. Some goes to PSG. Sorry.
oh, I know. This comment is like, but as we've said, if someone says to you,
Mm,
Shane, leave your current job, I'll pay you 10 times more. You'll have a few years in the wilderness. Whatever, man. Can't blame him for that, can you?
That's fair, I suppose, because he's like, what is it, 4x in his fucking salary or something. I can't blame him really at the end of it, but I'm just
No,
saying,
you can't blame people for doing that at the end of the day. So they're looking after themselves and their families. So
true.
I understand how it works. But I just think on our side, we're not selling anyone. We're not doing any serious deals with selling. Their talk now of Shane is João Felix. Like João
How?
Felix.
What are we gonna pay for him? Fucking like peanuts or off-white
I, I,
merch?
I
Like how are we gonna
but
be?
I'm like, Joao Felix was an amazing player years ago, but
Hmm,
he's been destroyed by all the clubs that he's been moved to.
yeah.
I think his time at Chelsea was disastrous. Um,
Is he
yeah, and
still
then
like? Is he
oh,
still? Who's he owned by? Is it still?
that's a good question. It might still be a Chelsea loan. I don't know. I don't know if he was fully sold.
Hmm,
Joao Felix. Let's have a look if we can see. Transfer market as well. Want to look, isn't it?
hmm.
Joao Felix, there he is. Player profile. Second strike. Again, by the way, second striker.
Yeah,
It's what we need, isn't it, mate?
that's a backup for Morata. So pretty much at this point.
It says current market value 30 million. So it says Atletico. I guess he must be on loan from Chelsea. 52 million, mate.
Yeah, that's weird, man. Like when you see, I get Moneyball. It needs to look players that haven't popped for whatever reason, but it's a bit of a concern, isn't it? It's not
Well,
like you're getting a free player. Like,
yeah, as I said, I understand the Carl Walker move
mm,
because there's a problem at right back. There's a huge problem at right back. So I get it. He's free.
mhm.
It's very little outlay, but the other names, Rashford never made any sense to me.
No,
Like we don't have the money to cut, and to ask Man United to pay over 50% of his wages, they'll be like, "What are you taking us for, mugs?"
I'd get Rashford if we had so much competition in places and we just wanted to keep it fresh and we were just kind of like going, do you know what? This guy might work out.
Yeah.
Then
And the
it'd
other
make
thing
sense.
is non-EU players. This is the other thing, Shane. You
This is
can't
it,
have
like,
Rashford and Walker. You can only have one. So they'll go for the free one.
no, but I bet you that's why they're junking Tomori now, though.
Yeah, it gotta be, mate.
Because if you think about it, if they're getting in Walker for the same reasons, right?
Yeah.
So that means that they're gonna have to.
They get rid of Tomori, they've made a space, I
They've
guess.
made a space, right? But then does that mean that they're looking to get another one?
Oh Jesus.
Does Royale have her brother?
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's called I don't know, Big Mac. I don't know.
Big Mac. Fuck. Royale, maybe. All right.
Yeah, chicken select. All right, man. So it was good to
Yeah.
talk today, dude. We needed that.
Jesus. An hour and a half. Anyway,
There you go. All right,
ladies,
let you get on
gents,
with your
everything
day.
in between, all other 10 million genders in 2025. Sorry, apologies about not getting to your questions, comments. I know there was a ton of them today. It was a bit of a busy pod, but look, thank you all for joining. So shout out to Kim, Fahadinho, what else we got?
Carmelo, we had.
Carmelo. Anyone else I've missed?
I don't
Vince
think so. I think
Mancini,
that's
thanks for
it. Oh,
joining,
Vince, yeah.
man. And yeah, Geo as well. Shout out to Coast to Coast over on
Yeah.
MWP. Give him a check. Check him out. All right. See
Cool.
you next week. Forza Milan.
Forza Milan, ciao a tutti.
Italia!